Hello, guys. Happy Wednesday. We are almost at Friday. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the week, guys. I don't know about you, but I am so ready to I'm just so ready for it to be Friday already, you guys. This is why I get excited about Wednesdays because I know I'm almost there. I am almost there. Shout out to everyone in the chat. First of all, huge shout out to everyone on Rockfriend. I don't forget about you guys. Unfortunately, the way the stream works, it doesn't allow Rockfin comments to come in through the stream. Hopefully, that's something that can change in the future. And when I get a bigger setup, I'll be able to comment to you guys as well as comment to people on YouTube and people watching on Twitter as well. But welcome, everybody. What is going on? Propaganda Live. Always nice to see you. Linda Chap. Linda, what is wrong? It was a crowd of 225,000 people. Sabby, if you viewed in a protest for government mandates, they were not booing him. What a stupid thing to write, Sabby. I thought you were better than this. Oh, gosh. Linda, I haven't even started talking about it yet. Calm down. Calm down. What's going on, Charlie Marks? Hello. I have COVID too in the ICU as I speak. This is no joke. Oh my God, Charlie, please get better. Everyone, please wish Charlie a speedy recovery. I'm so sorry to hear that, but it's happening out here, you guys. What's going on, Ashura? Shout out. Oh boy. Hello, Lieutenant Third. I think that's Lieutenant, right? Or is it just LT the third? Adults place their bets. Kids should be tested for antibodies before returning to school. That's a good point. What's going on? Diana M16. Kids are already back in school in South Carolina. Masks are optional. That's true. My parents live in South Carolina, so they've been telling me about this as well. So I've heard it all. See the change. Welcome. Same here in Texas for most schools, though some have made masks part of their school dress code to circumvent the Governor Abbott's ban on school mandating masks. We're going to see how this goes this fall, you guys. Like, I work in higher ed. They have to wear a mask here where I am, but we're going to see how it goes. What's going on, Echo J? Yeah, from what I see, they were definitely booing both the idea of getting the jab and the guy telling them to get it. We are going to get into that tonight. We are going to get into it. What's going on, Matt? He said, hey guys, it's Sabby time. Oh, what's going on, Greg? Always a pleasure to see you. Greg is a Sabby member. Eric Thomas is a Sabby member. Hello. Hi there, Greg, and my other lefty friends. Absolutely. Oh boy, I jumped ahead and it's hey, what's going on, Rome? Rome, is this you? Is this Rome from FHL? Did you change your thing? Maybe this is a different Rome. Either way, welcome, Rome. What is up? Shout out to Ecuadorian Taco 27. That's a pretty cool name. I like this channel a lot. Keep it up. Thank you so much and welcome. What's going on, Neymar? Always a pleasure to see you, Sabby. That intro. You know what? I'm actually gonna create a new intro probably by mid-September. There is someone who offered to write a song for my intro. So I was like, yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it. War Deer Entertainment said Tuesday. Tuesday? Hold up. Damn! Today is only Tuesday. See, that goes to tell you guys how busy I am. I thought today was Wednesday. I was so happy and excited. Grr. Damn it. All my days just meshed together, you guys. I'm telling you. What's going on, Pirate Alex? He said, what's up, everyone? What's going on, Emily? No, Tony Clifton, you didn't miss a day. It is totally me. Telling you, my days just run together. I work full time in higher ed, you guys, and then I come home, I eat my food, and I do my live stream. So to me, it's just all one big day. Manacle 7 said, sorry, Sabby, but today is Tuesday. I'm so bad at this. Do not come to me for calendar advice. I can tell you. I get my days all mixed up. It started during COVID. Like my days just started to blend together. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Welcome, welcome. Shout out to Delthea Simmons, who's a Sabby member. She says, "Good evening, everybody." Hello, Korab Moth. OT Charlie Watts, Rolling Stones drummer, RIP. Yeah, absolutely, man. RIP to those. Hey, what is going on? Radical Leftist Agenda. Always a pleasure to see you as well. Aya says, "Hope everyone's day has been well. It was a downer here. Man, I'm really hurt. Today is not Wednesday." Like, what? Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Hey, what's going on, Gamer for Life? Always a pleasure to see you as well. Provision said, "Sabby Sabs, it's Wednesday in the UK, so you were correct." That's right, guys. I'm overseas. Oh dear. Oh my gosh. What is going on? Don't tell the house slaves. I get a lot out of your podcast, so to me, your work is appreciated. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I try to educate people. That's my goal here. What's going on, Samuel? Hello. Hello, Abhishek. I believe I pronounced your name correctly. If not, please let me know. Awesomeness. Awesome. Welcome, welcome to Sabby Sabs Podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. Today is Tuesday. For those who don't know, Sabby Sabs Podcast is a part of the Fred Hampton Leftist Network. If you like what I do here, definitely check out FHL. We're doing great things over there. I will be on FHL on Thursdays for the roundtable and on Fridays. And you can catch me here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday evening. All right. Matt said, "At least you now, you know now, so you don't have to live Wednesday twice." I tell you, man. Oh my gosh. Jeez. All right. Oh, hello, Carlos. What's up? I got both of the Pfizer jabs. Going to get my booster when it's available. Been wearing my mask till wearing my mask. Going to keep wearing my back. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. I don't trust it, man. Like I still like even they're like, "Oh, like stores here in Massachusetts are like, oh, you don't have to wear it now. Like you can come to the grocery store without it. You can go out to eat without it." I'm like, "Whatever, dude. I still take mine. Uh, I just don't want to chance it, you know?" Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, what are we talking about tonight? Let's pull up the screen. Let's get right into it because we have had some interesting news come out. So tonight we are discussing Chris Hedges calls out Hasan. That was a really good video, by the way. Saagar has COVID and Trump booed. Those are the stories I'm going to get into tonight. Should be rather interesting. I think I'm going to start with Saagar has COVID. Let's start with that story because I actually found out about this from a subscriber. A subscriber told me about this. I was not aware of that. I actually don't watch Breaking Point, so I was just like, "Oh, dang, I didn't know that," you know? Um oh, that's good to know. I'm glad I pronounced your name the correct way. Yeah. So let's get into that story because I was surprised when I heard this. I'm going to go ahead and pull up that vid. There's a video on Breaking Points where he talks about this. So I'm going to go ahead and gear that up for you guys. Pause for a second. Why do you always want to zoom out? No. No. I swear my computer has a mind of its own sometimes. I'm like, I'm not even trying to zoom on you. What are you doing? Okay. All right. So, yeah, shout out to Eric Thomas, who's a Sabby member. Poor Saagar. He will be missed. Just kidding. He'll be fine. Yeah, he'll be fine. From what I saw in this clip, he didn't seem to have it as bad as, some other people have had it. David, nope, you didn't miss much yet. I think my whole intro spiel takes about 10 minutes. I like to talk. I like to talk. Can you tell? Um, absolutely. So let me go to that clip. I'm gonna share my screen because what I think is important about this is he talks about the symptoms that he had, and he also talks about where he thinks it may have happened. So I appreciate him, like, giving more details about it. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think that helps us a lot when we have more details. Yesterday, I talked about what happened with Jesse Jackson, and I could only give you the information that was in that article because they didn't say much about it. I mean, they didn't say much about like his symptoms or anything, but Saagar is talking about that. So I'm going to air that in just a second. No, you didn't miss anything, Golden Silence. I've talked for like 10 minutes before I start actually doing stuff. um, Rome said, I dislike how Crystal and Sager downplay the jab, or excuse me, not the jab, downplay COVID when it comes to the jab. Jabbed people can still get it and infect others. Yeah, I'm gonna play the clip where he talks about like what happened with him and like his symptoms. I don't know what they said after that because I only watched just enough to get what I needed for the story today. A busy person. So I'm gonna mute myself and I am going to go ahead and play this.
Happy Monday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Crystal?
Indeed, we do. Show looks a little bit different today. We're going to explain why in just a moment. We have some big updates out of Afghanistan. We'll bring you up to speed there. What the polling says about how Americans feel about all of this, some of it going against the media narrative. We also have some of the most cringe reactions to bring you, especially from the Republican Party on Afghanistan, an update on January 6th and what exactly happened there, and some new research on masking kids in schools that I think you're definitely going to want to pay attention to. Lucas Coons is also going to be on to break down his experience in Afghanistan. He's a veteran of both the Iraq and Afghan wars. We had him on Rising to talk actually about China. Really super smart guy. Works with Matt Stoller on antitrust stuff, running for Senate in Missouri.
Personal news, as they say. I've got the big 1-9, the COVID-19 breakthrough case. I am officially one of the statistics, so that is me. So I thought I would just explain what it's like. People out there are possibly curious. So I took my test on Thursday evening. I wasn't feeling particularly well on Thursday, and I thought, I was supposed to go to a wedding, and there was all this other stuff. So I said, okay, I got to be responsible, make sure that I'm good. Test came back positive. Honestly, Crystal, I could not distinguish it from a bad cold. And I think that that's mostly what it was like. I think I'm mostly on the tail end. I still feel a little bit fatigued. To be 100% transparent, had 2 doses of Moderna, but I would say I was pretty sick. I had like flu-like symptoms, a lot of congestion, had a fever for a couple of days, lots of fatigue. My taste was like 40% of what it normally was. So it wasn't like a total loss. As I texted you, I ate a bunch of habanero sauce in order to test. The side effect of that is it really clears the sinuses. So if you suspect you have the 1-9, I encourage you to try that little test for yourself. But that's it. I am officially one of the statistics. And I gotta say, it does have me asking some questions about overall national policy, because you and I have been discussing this around, obviously, getting vaccinated. This probably may have been much worse, given my reaction if I hadn't been vaccinated. So thank God for that. And I encourage everybody, if you're not, in order to go do so to protect yourself. But I do think that the breakthrough case numbers might be more than they are letting on. And I think the public health authorities should probably be transparent about that.
There's probably a lot of breakthrough cases that aren't showing up at hospitals or clinics. Like you felt well enough, you weren't worried about having to go to the hospital. Or you tell me you never had a moment, I don't think, where you were thinking I might have to go to the hospital. So data like yours just may not be captured. I think the most important thing to say with all of this is, because you were vaccinated, you had confidence when you got it that it was going to be a pain in the butt. that you were going to be feeling bad for a while, but that ultimately you were likely to be fine. So that I think is really important for people to take away. But how do you feel now? And also, do you have any like speculation about where or how you contracted it?
Yeah, I have no idea. So there are two really only options here, which is that I know that I was negative whenever I stepped back on a plane back to the United States because I had to get tested in order to come back to the US. Now, I either got it on the plane, but apparently air travel transmission is pretty low, or it's possible that I picked it up at the gym. But honestly, the more I've been doing reading, Crystal, this Delta variant is just so much more infectious at like 1,000 times more than normal COVID. I've been joking that it's as infectious as they tried to make us think that original COVID was, that it could honestly just be anywhere. Like it could be the grocery store. It could be the immigration line. When I was at the airport, I was around, hundreds and hundreds of people. And in terms of mask efficacy and all that, it's really up in the air whenever it comes to Delta. So I want to be clear too. This doesn't change anything about my public health commentary, and we'll get to that. I think whenever we talk about school masking and more, I think it is important that we might have to have a little bit of a mindset shift to say, like this could be an endemic disease. It could be one of those things where as long as you're vaccinated, you will not have to worry about death. I did not seek any doctor intervention because specifically I didn't want to draw resources away from somebody else. I was like, I don't need these antibodies or ivermectin or, whatever, because like, I'm fine. I took some Tylenol. Yeah, I didn't feel too good for a couple of days, but that's life. And I think that really is kind of the mindset that we're going to have to transition to, especially when we're going into the winter, in order to avoid some of the more onerous restrictions that I fear they're going to try to justify given some of the rising case numbers that we have across the country.
Yeah, another public health note here. There are reports of people seeking the veterinarian horse version of ivermectin. Please don't do that. Don't do that, guys. Please don't do that.
I did not ever stoop to the levels of double masking, getting in the car, going down to the stables and being like, can I have some ivermectin?
Horse drugs. You're gonna be okay. Please don't do that, guys. If you do.
Okay, so I thought that was important to hear because what I liked about that is that he explained when he got back on the plane, when he was coming back to the States, he knew that he didn't test positive. So that's important to note. So he did do international travel. I thought that was important for everybody to know. But he did international travel, and that still doesn't mean that he got it to the country that he was going to, because he said they tested him before he got back on the plane. Now, I really don't know how long in between from when you get tested and your results could you have contracted it, and then maybe your results weren't correct later on. I don't know. I'm not sure. I have to get tested at my work. So in fact, I just got tested yesterday, and the turnaround time is pretty fast. But I guess the question that I have is that time in between after you've already been tested and you're waiting for your results, what happens during that time? What happens if you do contract it at that point? Then the results that you had from your test don't hold up. And I think something like that similar happened to Andrew Yang. He was tested when he was campaigning. I know he said he was tested two or three times that week, and they all came back negative, and then he tested positive. So I don't know about the length in between. Thanks so much, Greg, for the super chat. He said, keep up the great work. Thank you. Eric Thomas said, give me some of that horse ivermectin, baby. So, this is important to note. I wanted to show you guys that because he too got the jab, both of them. And he still tested positive, but you notice his symptoms weren't as bad as some of the people that we've been hearing from before the jab came out and before people got it. So it almost kind of sounded like, and I don't want to speculate here, but based on the symptoms that he was describing, to me, that almost sounded like the flu. To me, minus the loss of taste. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I get the flu, like my taste buds are still there. Like I still have that. So minus that, um, it's a good thing that he didn't have like more extreme symptoms. I mean, you see him on camera right now, he seems to be fine. So I just thought it was good that he explained to people that he did travel, but he also noted that airplane transmission is supposed to be somewhat rare. It's harder for you to contract it on a plane. So who knows? It could have been when he was standing in line at the airport. Who knows? Nobody really knows like how it came about. Um, but it happened somehow. Luckily he's okay. I'm pretty sure everyone that's been around him is probably going to have to get tested as well, and that would include Crystal. But this just goes to show you how quickly this can change because they've been in the studio next to each other all this time, and now they have to go back to, virtual. And unfortunately, this is the reality that we live in right now. Um, I'm really scared, like job wise, I'm really scared because I work on a campus that has over 30,000 students, and I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You have that many people, right? And that doesn't include the staff. So it's scary. It's scary. Dana said Sager cracks me up. How did he come up with 40% of his sense of taste? That's a good question. I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool that like he tried to like he went for habanero because like I can't do spicy food, but for people who really like spicy food, they love to have that taste. And so that was a good test for him to do because if you're not tasting the spiciness from habanero, then you know what's up. It's just interesting. Going to some of the comments in the chat. Like I said, it's good. It's great that, he's okay. But I just thought it was interesting because, like I said, it was just yesterday. I was telling you guys about Jesse Jackson, his situation. He got the jab and he tested positive. Granted, he also has compromised immune system. I mean, he has Parkinson's disease. Not sure about his wife, but she tested positive as well. So Jules Pad said most people that get it show no symptoms. Yeah. I mean, so honestly, everyone's body is different. You don't know how it's going to affect you until you get it, basically. Um, Profession said people take horse growth hormones. LOL. That was funny. I was like, what? Who is doing that? Who is doing that? Mr. Nazi Vete said, so not a jab, just saying. But see, I've told people about this before, like with the whole flu thing, like with the flu jab. I used to get it because I had to because I worked in healthcare, and then when I switched over to education, I I stopped. I don't get it. I don't. It makes me feel really crappy, like after I get it. To be honest with you, doesn't affect everybody like that though, you know. Oh my gosh, some of the comments in the chat are really funny. Oh, Echo J said Saagar, excuse me, Saagar. I've been pronouncing his name incorrectly. Saagar especially seems anti-mask after getting jabbed. I wonder if he wasn't wearing one. That I don't know, but that's a good question. I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't flown like in a while. I thought everybody had to wear them on the plane, right? Because I know my friends of mine that have flown, like they had to have the mask on while they were flying on the plane. I'm not sure about the airport. I don't know where he flew from, where he flew out of, but I know like here, I think you still have to have it on like in the airport. But that's a good point to bring up. Eric Thomas brings up a good point. He said lockdowns will only lengthen the flu season. So let's talk about that because this is something that people have been bringing up as maybe we should just lock everything down again and pay everybody to stay at home. I wish they would have done that when this first started. I wish they would have just paid everybody to stay at home, just like New Zealand did. New Zealand did that. That's why their rates are lower. That's why they don't have the numbers that some of the other countries have, that we have. They shut it down and said, we're going to pay you to stay at home. And they were able to curb it rather quickly. Um, Now, this is a good point to bring up though, because I did not think about that it will only lengthen the flu season. I was not aware of that. So that's good to know. I think my camera just went out of focus. Why are you doing that to me? Hello. All right, and I'm back. Um, That's a good point. Franny French said Oregon brought back the indoor mask mandate in mid-August. Yeah, I'm surprised we don't have it in Massachusetts anymore. Like, I really am surprised. I'm wondering how long this is going to last. Cause like I said, I work at a campus where there's like over 30,000 students. There's like 10,000 like staff. I don't know how many faculty there are. I don't really pay attention to the faculty numbers, but I just wonder how long this is going to last and how do you enforce it? Because when they sent us home to work from home, there was nothing to enforce because we were sent away from the campus. We were sent home. This is the first time we are going to be on campus while this is happening and we have the mask mandates. But how do we enforce students to do it? In the classroom, yes, that's easy. But what about when they're just walking about on campus? What about when they're just hanging out in like the lobby of one of the buildings? Like, how do you enforce it? We don't have like someone who has that as their job. And I think this is going to be really interesting to see how this plays out this fall. Any of you work in education, feel free to comment in the chat and let me know how you feel about this as well. Nation said the mayor of Boston announced it for the city. Yeah, we'll see how we'll see how it goes. We'll see. I remember what it was like when I was in undergrad. I just remember Rome said, I'm in Florida. They don't give a shit here. LOL. Yeah, that's interesting too, because a friend of mine that lives in Florida, she was like, dude, we never shut down. Um, Delthea said, I think a lockdown is inevitable. The hospitals we have simply can't handle the overload. And that's another concern, right? Because in the medical profession, like people are retiring early. My doctor just pieced out. like literally, I got a letter in the mail that said, yeah, this is it for me. My dentist moved back to Saudi Arabia. I was supposed to get like a dental, I still have to get like dental surgery that I'm not looking forward to. I hate going to the dentist. I hate it. I don't like the sound of the tools and the drills. It's just a disaster for me. I can't, I cringe about it. But the week I went for the consult, this was the second consult, they told me that he moved back to Saudi Arabia. Like he just pieced out. I was like, what? I'm like, okay. So then I had to get a new dentist, you know? So some people are choosing to retire early. They're choosing to like just leave their profession altogether because the risk is great, right? And I understand that. You have to give a lot of props to people working in healthcare right now because it is a risky profession. And now you have to deal with this pandemic as well. I know it's a lot of work. Gamer for Life said, yeah, I need to go to the dentist soon myself. I got a few cavities and one really bad tooth. Dude, but go get that taken care of, gamer. Go get it done. Because the longer you wait, man, the worse it can. Mine wasn't like urgent, but at some point I still have to get it done. Oh my God. Like, I want to pick your brain for a second and I'm going to get to the second story. I got to ask you guys, who grows up and says they want to be a dentist? Because think about that. Like, you have to look inside someone's mouth all day. Not everybody has the best mouth. Like, I couldn't imagine doing that. I couldn't remove teeth. I just couldn't do it. But I'm just a wuss like that. But I feel sorry for dentists sometimes because they don't really have anybody to talk to while they're doing their work. My dental hygienist, he likes to tell jokes while he's cleaning my teeth. Like one time he was like, "All right, let's do this root canal, girl." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, he said, "Just joking, haha." But he likes to do that while he's cleaning my teeth and I can't laugh. So that has to be a lonely profession because you don't have anyone to talk back to you. Man, that's got to be rough. What's going on at Kid? Hi, Sabby. Love your show and perspective. Would kindly ask if you would plan to invite Ralph Nader to your show and discuss strategies to bring about policies, Medicare for all, living wages. Thanks. Yes, he is on my list of people to invite. Thank you for reminding me because I forget. I have this list and then I'm like, I'll get back to it. And then I get busy and I forget. But I definitely do want to have him on. I definitely want to talk to him and get his take about Bernie Sanders and the squad as well, because I honestly think that Bernie didn't want to go the way of Ralph Nader. I think he thought he was afraid that that would happen to him. But yeah, it's just I don't even know. Um Oh, Aya said, good people, Sabby, good people. They take care of our smiles. My dentist is the bomb. Seen him since I was 15, and he always has a dental assistant in the room, too. Oh, I know, man. I remember when I was a kid, the dentist used to give me lollipops like after I would get my teeth clean. And I'm like, doesn't this defeat the purpose of keeping my teeth clean? I don't know. Whoa, Emily, no. Dentists have the highest suicide rate of any profession, if I'm not mistaken. Yo, what was I telling you guys about them not having anybody to talk back to them? Could you imagine that? Like you're just talking to people who can't respond to you because you're working on their teeth. Like you're cleaning their teeth. Like they can't laugh at your jokes, you know? Takes a special kind of person, man. Takes a special kind of person. All right. Let's get into the second story because this one I identify with personally. Some of you may have seen this already. So Chris Hedges was on Bad Faith recently, Bad Faith podcast with Brianna Joy Gray. And they started talking about, and there's more to this episode, but this is the clip specifically what I wanted to discuss. They started to talk about how pause. Sorry. They started to talk about third parties. They're talking about uh in a discreet way the whole situation with Hassan Piker and his house. So for those of you who don't know, I think most of you guys probably know about this, but people were kind of giving Hassan Piker, some pushback because there was a story came out that he bought like this $1 million house or something like that. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to people's houses. But I think the problem that people were having is that it comes across, I guess, as hypocritical because if you say you're activist, you're for the movement and all that kind of stuff, and then you have like this $1 million home, I think that you can do both. But I think the thing that really bothered people is the fact that he doesn't though. Is the fact that he's not there out in the streets and fighting for these things. He sits in front of a camera, says go fight for these things, and then he turned on the Medicare for all marches, like he was against that, constantly defending the squad. And so those of us who really need these things in our life, we are pushing to fight for it, and we are like, no, we don't have time to wait for another person to get elected who may do what they say they're going to do. Some of us just don't have that kind of time, and they feel like people like him just don't understand that because he's living in like $1 million house and like he's rich. He's rich. And you're going to tell people who need these things, no, this is not, don't do this. We need to focus on electoral politics. Most of you know how I feel about that. I told you guys, I don't have a lot of faith in electoral politics. I think if you are going to run for office, the best thing to do is to do so locally. It's running for positions that people don't People don't consider these positions to be important, but they are very important. Like running for city council. City council controls the budget. Hello. Hello. That's an important position. Running for mayor. Like these are positions that you can get into you and you can actually make significant change in your community. And I've seen people do it. I've seen that happen. But that's just my spiel on that. Jimmy Dore's Garage said Sabby has a $3 million home, clutches pearls. Oh, 3 million, my bad. Because I think I said a million, right? So it's this is brought up like in this clip, and Chris Hedges brought up something in this episode that really kind of hit me right here because we have a similar experience. He talks about Cambridge, Massachusetts, and what he experienced commuting into Cambridge when he lived in Massachusetts. And when I heard him say this, I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what he's talking about because I've experienced it as well. So I'm going to play that clip for you. Share my screen. Share audio. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I don't know why it looks like, okay, that's because I got it on pause. All right, let me mute myself so I won't have echo. And here we go.
Half the left thinks that you shouldn't talk about third parties. Half the left literally calls the other half the dumb left for articulating any value or interest in third party candidacies. Half the left thinks that the other half of the left is monstrous villains who attack women of color for critiquing the efficacy of squad members. Right? One might call them the institutional left, is doing the work, I would argue, of backing people away from exactly those strategies that would create fear that is useful for us. And they're doing it under the cover of saying, well, we have all of these team players on the inside, we have to protect them now. The House discourse is silly, but when people say, okay, well, my critique of Hassan Piker, and this is a critique that I've seen that I'm articulating, I'm not, staking a claim here, but that, because he is opposed to third parties, because he, generally speaking, is, defensive of the squad members, because he wasn't supportive of efforts like Force the Vote, that is part of why we're frustrated that he has been able to earn so much money and buy this house, let's say. And that the people who are doing the best in the left ecosystem are the people, not frankly, Jimmy Dore, he's an outlier there, I'd say, but are the people who have kind of closed ranks around lefty institutional actors, perhaps for access reasons, perhaps who knows why. It could be sincere sympathies. But that's part of what's motivating, I think, this fracture. It's not all superficial.
When I went to seminary, I went to Harvard Divinity School. I lived in Roxbury and I commuted into Cambridge every day. And that's where I say I learned to hate liberals. All these people sitting around talking about empowering people they never met. They were flying off to Nicaragua to pick coffee a week with the Sandinistas and coming back and talking about it for the rest of the semester. Those are the kind of activists you're speaking about, boutique activists who have traditionally been and remain utterly irrelevant, not important, and not worth your time or your energy even responding to.
Well, what can I say? Well said. Well said. Maurice said boutique left a bunch of grifters. I'm going to tell you my experience with this as well. In Cambridge, I think I just got a super chat. Thanks so much for the super chat, Roger. If you fight for Medicare for all, they give you ACA. If you want Medicare for all, then fight for nationalized healthcare, Cuba and England style. England actually has a really good health system. One of my coworkers is from England. She's only been living here, I think, probably about maybe 3 years now. She hasn't been here long in the US. And she was telling me about the healthcare system they have over there in the UK, how the women get like 9 months off, or the full 9 months after they have the baby. They get like 9 months to a year maternity leave. I said, get out. I was like, are you serious? People would have a fit. They would go crazy if we did that here. But it totally makes sense because the mother's supposed to bond with the child. Doesn't that make sense to you guys? You know? Lauren said Brianna should run for office. I agree. I think someone has asked her that before. I have to check on that. I think someone has asked her that before. Let me tell you about my experience with this in reference to what Chris is speaking about with Cambridge. So it's interesting. A lot of people don't know this, but I used to work at MIT. When I worked at MIT, I lived in Cambridge. And I mean, it was convenient. I'm like, job right there, house right here, apartment right here. And what I noticed was that it seemed like to me, a lot of the people that I would run into that lived in Cambridge, they would say that they were for Black Lives Matter. They would say that they're for gay rights. And they would consider themselves, you know, leftists. They were really liberals. I'm just being honest with you guys. They were really liberals. But whenever you would ask them to get involved and to take action and to help those communities that they say they really care about, crickets. Crickets. I had former coworkers. We do like charity work and things like that through my job as well. And Cradles to Crayons is a good one, a good organization that we help volunteer with as well. I had coworkers who signed up for a volunteer event, and this was to like give like coats and like winter gear to kids that don't have it. They were all set to do this until they found out that we were going to be doing this in Dorchester. So for those of you who don't know, Dorchester is a predominantly Black neighborhood in Boston. So is Roxbury, so is Mattapan. They didn't want to go to Dorchester. They didn't want to go to the community where the kids that they were going to be helping and donating these supplies to lived. They wanted to have something to put like on their resume. I did this thing. I donated clothes to the poor Black kids in Dorchester. They want the shine of it. But they don't want to actually interact with the people in those communities. You never see them there. So some of them backed out because it was going to be in Dorchester. I'm like, are you kidding me? They didn't feel safe. They didn't feel safe going to a neighborhood that was predominantly Black. And it's really funny because Dorchester is the largest neighborhood in Boston. You wouldn't know that if you came here as a tourist. Because when you get on those little trolley buses, they only take you around Boston proper. Dorchester was also one of the first neighborhoods in Boston. Trolleys don't take you there. They just don't. I'm going to shout out this super chat and then I'm going to finish what I have to say. Thank you so much, Andrew, for the super sticker and welcome. So the problem that I have is that when I lived in Cambridge, you would have these institutions, like you would have, there used to be a bar, it closed during COVID, but there was a bar in Cambridge called the People's Republic, and it was a communist bar. I kid you not. Communist themed bar, you walk in, it's supposed to be like frowned upon to tip the bartenders. They don't really want you to tip them, you know. And what was really interesting to me is that you had all these entities in Cambridge that would scream, yes, we are progressive, we are bold. But majority of the people didn't want anything to do with the same people that they said they were willing to fight for and that they really cared about. They didn't want to go to Roxbury. They didn't want to go to Dorchester. They wanted to say that they approved of these things without getting their hands dirty, without interacting with people in those neighborhoods. And they would say that they were progressive. In fact, Cambridge for a long time has been called one of the most progressive cities in the country. So you got to think about the people who are living in these areas that all the labels scream diversity, inclusion, progressive, but the actions don't, and the behavior doesn't. I'd probably have to give my right arm to get someone to go to Roxbury. It's a big problem. It is a big problem. I used to run a meetup group in Boston. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with meetup.com, but they're different groups across the United States. You can join a meetup group, find a group where people like to do what you like to do. So I ran a group for people who were transplants that had just moved to the area. Some of them had lived in New England or whatever's, but they were new to Boston, right? So check this. One of the things that I noticed, it seemed like whenever we wanted to do events in those neighborhoods, in Roxbury, in Dorchester, the attendance was really low. But every time we did an event in Boston proper, people were there. We could do an event an hour away from Boston, people would be there. But to hear people actually say things like, I don't want to go to Roxbury. I've actually heard someone say, I'm not going to Dorchester because I'm white. Really? These are the liberals who claim to be progressive. And you find out just how liberal they are when you push them to interact with people that they wouldn't interact with. When you push them and you challenge them to go into neighborhoods that they would never go into. I'm going to shout out some of the super chats here. Thanks so much for the super chat, Cool Blue. Not said is the boutique/synthetic left are political enemies of the actual left. Those who oppose forced the vote was an outstanding example. Because if you don't need health care, you don't have to support it. If it's not important to you, it don't matter. You ain't really got to support it like that. And so there was one more super chat. Richie, thanks so much for the super chat. The problem with the old left, i.e. TYT crowd, that they are not working class nor face capitalist oppression, yet claim to speak for socialists. Say it again one more time, Richie. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's hard to talk about struggle if you never had to struggle. It's hard to talk about what it's like not having health care if you've always had health care. Shout out to Delthea for the super chat. As William Clay said, there are no permanent enemies and no permanent friends, only permanent interest. If people are doing the work, work with them. Absolutely. So when Chris Hedges talks about this, these boutique like liberals, when he talks about these things that happen in Cambridge, and Chris Hedges, he lived in Roxbury, so he knows. Roxbury is also predominantly Black neighborhood in Boston. So commuting from Roxbury to Cambridge, you see the difference and you feel the difference. You got to understand who is in Cambridge. You have Harvard, you have MIT, you have all these people with PhDs, master's degrees, brilliant scientists. Look, you have scientists at MIT that are like award-winning scientists. Okay, this is the community that you are in. You have elite professors at Harvard. That's Cambridge. And it didn't always used to be that way. There used to be more working class families in Cambridge. They've been pushed out thanks to gentrification. Rent in Cambridge is astronomically high now. Might as well just go ahead and rent in Boston. And a lot of these working class families have been pushed out of Cambridge. And now when you go into Cambridge, if you haven't been back here in a long time, I think you'd be surprised what Cambridge looks like now. All these tech companies, juice bars, spin cycle or spin class, spin aerobics businesses. That stuff didn't used to be there. Even when I first moved to Cambridge, it wasn't like that. But over the time that I lived there, it became more and more like that. So when he talks about that, I know exactly what he's talking about. I'm like, yep. See, what you have to understand is they like the idea of these things. They like the idea of saying Black Lives Matter. They like the idea of being for gay rights. They like the idea. But when you ask them to do direct action to help those same people, the same people that they advertise when they have stickers in their office door, their office window that says Black Lives Matter, when they have those signs in their windows of their apartments, when you ask them to actually go and help those people, those groups, they are silent. And it's a damn shame. I'm going to go to some of the comments in the chat. I've seen a lot of them go by. I want to make sure I get your words in as well, guys. Golden Silence said, all you need to know about liberals is just bring a homeless around them. Yeah, and there are a lot of homeless people in Harvard Square, you guys. A lot. Virtual Jonathan, hey, check it out. Look, I don't have my tea bag in my cup. I took my tea bag out. I figured you'd be proud. Virtual Jonathan said, yes, and they are seen as marks by Dorchester natives. Are you thick? I think that was in response to someone above, which I missed. Jonathan said, whenever there was an emergency crisis down here in South Texas with immigrants under Trump, all the white savior tour activists came down on pilgrimage. Haven't seen them at all under Biden. Isn't that funny how that happens, Jonathan? Similar thing to what Chuck Modi said about people that were protesting for George Floyd in DC. He said that after Biden won, all the white people went home. As if police brutality had ended just because Biden was elected. And Biden is still funding the police state. He increased funding for police. Problem's not over. Yes, Franny French. Woo, that's a tough one. Franny French. Same with Somerville. Yep. I lived in Somerville too. Somerville is slowly becoming what Cambridge was about 4 years ago. Harry said, and Hedges has taught voluntarily in prisons for like 2 decades too. There you go. So that's why I tell people, like, just because someone has a Black Lives Matter bumper sticker and all that kind of, that don't mean they really, if they really care and they really think, Black Lives Matter and they really want to help the Black community. Ask them to go volunteer with you in a Black neighborhood and see what their response is. Ask. Cheese Sandwich said, F gentrification. It's a problem. I've been thinking about doing a short, I don't have the equipment for this yet, but I honestly thinking about doing a short documentary about all of the gentrification that I've seen happen in the Boston area. I did a vlog about it about over a year ago. It's somewhere on my channel, but I might want to do something more in depth one day. One day. A Trey said bumper sticker leftist. Damn. Don't Tell the House Slave said, people don't like to get out of their comfort zone. Absolutely, especially if they don't have to. If they're not forced to, they're just like, whatever, man, I don't really have to do it, so I'm not going to do it. Emily said, or ask them to volunteer anytime there isn't a camera or social media opportunity clout. Exactly. Pay attention to the people that come around when there are no cameras. Pay attention to the people that come around when there is no hashtag trending. Hello, Diane. Hi, Sabby. I'm a Bostonian and I moved to New Hampshire 20 years ago because it was cheaper. Not so much now. No, it's not. New Hampshire is getting to the point where, especially Southern New Hampshire, because a lot of people move to Southern New Hampshire, but they commute in. Yes, people will still drive from New Hampshire to go to work in Boston, believe it or not. I'm not even joking. But now New Hampshire is starting to, that area especially is starting to increase as well in reference to cost of living. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. Little Rock, what is going on? Sabby, I feel like watching Night at the Roxbury with Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan. I love that movie, but it's not that Roxbury. But yeah, that movie is hilarious. Back when I thought SNL was still kind of funny. I don't think it's that funny anymore. Gene said, as Chris Hedges said, nothing will come from politicians. We need to work on organizing and do this ourselves. There you go. What'd I tell you? Monique in London is here. It's all lip service. There's no depth. It's all superficial. There you go. They don't want to do anything. They don't really want to go out there and fight and help people. I mean, if people are afraid to come into your community, I mean, come on. Cool Blue, thanks so much for the super chat. NIMBY, not in my backyard. George Carlin. Yeah. They want to support these ideas. They want to support these initiatives, but they don't want, it's like they want it at arm's length. They don't want it to be too close to them. They don't want it next door to them. They don't want it in their backyard. They don't want it in their face. They don't want to see it in front of them. Rootstock Tom said Medicare for all was the obvious policy to leverage since it had the greatest level of support across the board. Turned out to be a litmus test and expose all the frauds in lefty media and in Congress. I mean, hello, we were in the middle of a pandemic. If you're not going to fight for health care for everybody, then when are you going to do it? You know how many people had died at that point in this country from the pandemic? And they still didn't. They're sitting there arguing about whether or not we should fight for healthcare right now. Didn't do it, didn't force the vote, stuck with Nancy Pelosi. And she was the one who changed her mind on canceling student loan debt after one of her donors called her and told her not to do it. This is what we get. This is what we're left with. That's why she should have never reclaimed that seat. That's why they should have never voted her in, and they should have forced the vote. But here we are. Eric Thomas said they went back to brunch. Absolutely. Shout out to Eric. He's a Sabby Sabs member. They did. Everybody just went back to mimosas. Franny said that Biden is hiring 100K more pigs. Why do we need more police officers? Why do we need more of them? Hire someone to save us from the cops. Could you do that? Shout out to Virtual Jonathan for the super chat. Center for Marxist Education, Community Church of Boston. People who have been at it for years, decades. Lucy Parsons Project, RIP and JP. Absolutely, guys. I highly recommend, especially if you live in the area, that you look up these efforts that Jonathan is talking about. I remember when I first heard of the community church in Boston, I thought it was actual church, but it's not. It is not. I hope I'm not missing. Oh, Roger Meadows. I missed you somewhere. Let me go back up to the top. 1 second. The virtual Marxist. But yeah, I mean, Chris Hedges knows. Man, I hate the super chat thing. It won't let me show sometimes. Roger, I'm gonna read your super chat because it won't let me pull it all the way up. I should already know our history dealing with leftists from suffragettes. 70s women's movement treatment of sisters up to Women's March 2 years ago. Notice how you don't hear anything about that Women's March after Biden won. You don't hear anything about it now, right? It's interesting though, because women's rights, our rights still matter. Then we got a president in the White House who sexually assaulted someone. But it's okay because he's a Democrat. That's how this works. Jamal said, and now Biden approval rating is low because of Afghanistan. Well, I knew it was only a matter of time, though. I knew it was only a matter of time with him that he was going to start to fall down. Delthea said, the yard sign people don't really like people. They like claiming goodness and proving their goodness by putting the right yard sign outside of their door. That speaks volumes. That is a good point. Monique in London, what kind of tea do you drink? I am a green tea with jasmine girl myself. I drink green tea during the day, and I drink this tea is by Tazo. It's called Passion. It's really good. It's decaffeinated, so I gotta have decaf at night because But thanks. Absolutely. Just go into some of the comments in the chat, and then I'll move on to the last story. Malik said, I mean, at least Trump was funny and had comedy material. Yep. That is true. That is true. Shout out to Eric Thomas. He's a Sabby's member. He said it's a big club and we're not in it. We are not in it. Oh, there it is. I found it, Roger. I should have already known our history dealing with leftists from suffragettes, 70 women's movement treatment of sisters up to Women's March 2 years ago. Yep. Thanks so much for the super chat. Shout out to Greg. He's a Sabby's member. Nancy Pelosi is a Thanos Democrat. Oh my God. No. Oh my gosh. West Coast. People should have actively supported Shahid Buttar against Pelosi instead of backing his public lynching. Absolutely. I had Shahid on a couple of months ago, and he went into great detail to tell me about what happened during his campaign and how they smeared him. And the press didn't even really cover the fact that Nancy Pelosi had a challenger, which was just terrible. He talked about the fact that how Nancy Pelosi didn't even have to debate him, which is BS, by the way. Total BS. I think everyone should have to debate. People who are running, of course. I don't think it's fair that just because you've been in politics for a long time that you don't have to debate. I don't think that's fair. Shout out to Megan. I knew Women's March was sus when people cried that Linda Saussure was involved. U.S. left hasn't gotten over the idolization phase of politicians. Obama, Bernie, now the squad. Well said. Well said. You can't make them heroes. You can't hero worship them. Golden Silence said, Delthea is summing up all the people in Berkeley, California. All the hippies are not a blue MAGA through and through. Are now a blue MAGA through and through. Gotcha. Yeah, but Yeah, to Chris's point, to Chris Hedges' point, like people think of Cambridge as this progressive, mecca place. It's progressive, all right, until you ask them to produce action. All that progress goes right out the window. They like stickers and bumper stickers. That's what happens. Roger Meadows, thanks for the super chat. Roger said, Joe approval rating is 60 plus on Afghanistan. I think it went down, Roger. I think I saw that earlier this morning that he dropped below that. I'll have to double check though. But thanks so much for the super chat. Thanks for the super chat, Cool Blue. Recent poll has Biden approval at 41%. Frankly, this foreshadows a 2022 midterm election for the Republicans to flip the House and possibly the Senate. What did we tell you guys? What did we tell you? If Joe Biden didn't produce on these issues that he ran on, such as canceling student loan debt, $15 minimum wage, healthcare, he was supposed to expand Obamacare, even though we want Medicare for all. If he didn't produce on these things, come midterms, Republicans would flip the House and they would flip the Senate. And I don't want CNN and MSNBC to be like, what happened? I don't know. How could anybody? What did he do wrong? No, dude, because those of us in indie media, we told you. Yep, Little Rock said, I've said it too. Yeah. Echo J said it went down due to C-19 and economic issues. Most Americans still approve of his Afghan withdrawal. Oh no, where Pilgrim? No, I wish Joe would died in too. No. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I wondered what this show would be like if it were a sitcom. It'd be pretty funny, huh? You guys are the funny ones. Not so much me. Yep. Eric Thomas said midterms will be dim bloodbath. Absolutely. And I don't want to hear them say, we don't understand how this could have happened. Joe Biden had such a great approval rating. I can't believe this. I don't know if my voice was good on that, but. Abhishek, Sabby, did you watch Biden's Afghanistan speech today? Not yet. That is on my list to check. Oh, God. He is just crazy, man. Aya said CNN was wrong, wrong, wrong. Cat Williams. There you go. There you go. Thank you so much, Mr. Jones, for the super chat. Can you repeat Boston church name? Thanks, Sab, one love. Thanks so much for the super chat. Yes, it was the Community Church of Boston. All right. I got one more story for you guys. This one's a short one. Let me get out of Twitter. How did that happen? Let's see. I'm going to let this load up because speaking of Republicans and Trump, something did happen recently. I'm just waiting for the ad to play. There's an ad that has to play over. So basically, to make a long story short, Trump had a rally in Alabama. So this is recent. And yes, for people who are wondering, Trump had a rally. Yes, Trump still is doing rallies. See, this is the thing. Like, Trump never stopped campaigning or campaigning for someone else. He's still doing rallies. Oh, wow. Good point. Don't tell the house slaves. One of the squad will lose to a Republican. If they will have every excuse to wage war on the left. If that happens, man, again, we're just like, we tried to tell you, this is what happens when you don't fight for those issues, man. When you don't push for it, you had every opportunity to do so. All right, let me try to backtrack. All right, here we go. All right, so Trump was at a rally in Alabama and he mentioned something about the jab, and we'll just see how this goes. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Share, Sabby, share. All right. Why are you glitching on me? That was weird. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, let me mute my mic.
For Donald Trump's rally as the state struggles with a surge of new coronavirus cases. Trump facing the wave of boos, in fact, by his own supporters when trying to tell the crowd to get vaccinated.
In your freedoms, I do. You got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But you got, no, that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine. If it doesn't work, you'll be the first to know. But you do have your freedoms. You have to maintain that. You have to maintain that. And you got to get your kids back to school.
Joining me now is Olivia Troy, director of the Republican Accountability Project. Olivia is also a former top aide to former Vice President Mike Pence. Welcome, Olivia. Good to see you, my friend. Let's get to your former position as a White House coronavirus task force member. So what is your reaction to the exchange we just played with Donald Trump, what he said, what he did, and the crowd reacting on getting vaccinated? I mean, look, he's telling people to get vaccinated, but could he have been more definitive doing so?
Well, I'm glad that he mentioned the vaccine to begin with. So that is a positive thing, right? We all agree that anybody who can push this and educate people and tell them to do
100%.
this, that is a positive. But of course, Donald Trump can't do anything without flip-flopping within the same sentence, right? So he contradicts himself just whenever he speaks. And so, I thought it was striking, the boos coming back at him. I did watch his speech last night, as painful as it was to watch it live. But I will say that watching that, I just kept thinking, those boos are what you created from day one, from the divisiveness that you created on this pandemic. And that's your legacy. And it's coming back to haunt you firsthand as he watches it. But clearly, he then.
Okay. I want to get your opinion on this, you guys, because I want to make it clear it's not like the entire audience booed him. But the question that I have for you guys is, do you think the people who did boo, do you think they were booing him, or do you think they were booing the jab? The fact that he was advocating for the jab. Do you think they're booing against the jab, or were they directly booing him? Because when I first saw this, I was like, oh, they're booing him. I watched this like 4 times. That's what you guys don't realize. Like, a lot of these clips I show you, I watch them like multiple times before I even bring them on here. Sometimes my opinion will change by the second or third time I watch it. And so I was watching that. The second time I watched it, I was like, wait a minute. They're not booing him. They're booing the mention of the jab. Third time I watched it, I was like, maybe they're booing both. Fourth time, I went back to they were booing the jab. They weren't booing him. What do you guys think? I'm going to go to some of the comments in the chat. Thanks so much for the super chat, Harry. Are Americans aware that politicians have agents/publicists too? And that Joe Biden with the same agency is with the same agency as Alyssa Milano, whose husband owns such and such agency. I did not know he was with the same agency as Alyssa Milano, but that doesn't surprise me because Alyssa Milano has heavily come out as, in support of Joe Biden, which is really interesting because she was the one that was really like, oh, we need to believe women and Me Too. And by the way, she stole that hashtag from a Black woman. It was a Black woman who came up with the Me Too hashtag, the Me Too movement, and she co-opted it and took it away. Sorry, just had to get that out there. But anyway, she was very much like Me Too and believe women during Brett Kavanaugh's hearing. But the moment that Joe Biden was the one being accused of sexual assault all of a sudden it was, oh no, we got to support Joe Biden and Tara Reid is a liar. But what happened to believe women? What happened to Me Too? These people are hypocrites. I told you guys, it's never again, same thing going back to we got to protect the women in Afghanistan. It's never about the women. It is never about the women. It is about their agenda and the agenda that they want to spread. It's all about them. Okay. I'm going to some of the in the chat. All right, here's what people are saying. Again, the question that I posed was, do you think they were booing him or do you think they were booing the mention of the jab itself? So, Little Rock said probably both. Oh Lord gosh, you guys. Femi Wanawan said both. Echo J said both. That's 3 for both. Kathy said, who cares? Nancy said jab. Don't tell the house slave said, I'm glad I got the Pfizer, y'all. Troy said jab. That's 2 for jab. Sam said, don't need to see MSNBC coverage. Eric said the jab. Profician said jabby jab. So far, jabby jab's in the lead. DMB fan, okay, said the jab. LC jab. So jab has it so far, you guys. Aya said booing him talking about the jab. Interesting. But what I found funny too is like when those people did start booing, then he was like, well, or not, you got to have your freedoms. Notice how he was able to just flip it like that. Like all of a sudden, just flip it. People always said that, like, they said Trump knows how to read a room. Yeah, even Emily said they weren't booing him. Thanks so much for the super chat, Kami Chan. We need to rebrand the jab as the freedom needle. Real Americans don't die on Chinese manufactured ventilators. And then he did this. Love the show, Sabs. Thanks so much for the super chat. I know, it's like, what do you call it now? What do you call it? There's another super chat. Thanks so much, Roger. If Joe's smart and wants to keep the leg branch issue and EO on Medicare for all, like what Obama did for Libby, Montana, Section 1881A Social Security Act. And for those of you that don't know, those of us that were a part of the Medicare for All marches, that was the point that we were trying to get across. When people said that Joe Biden can't do this, we were like, actually, he can. And we brought up the Libby, Montana Social Security Act, how they were able to do that, Libby, Montana. So all Joe Biden had to do was invoke Section 1881A to implement Medicare for all for everyone in this country. A lot of people don't know that. Hey, Christopher Neal. Christopher said, I'm guessing the jab. Yeah. Where Pilgrim said, if Snoop Doggy Dogg was a doctor doc, would he prescribe the jabby jab? Oh my gosh. Snoop ends up everywhere. My husband and I talk about this. Snoop is everywhere. I was at the liquor store a couple days ago and I walked in and there was Snoop wine. Like Snoop had his own wine. Wait, was that vodka? Nope, I think it was wine. And it was the first thing you saw as soon as you walked into the store. I was like, Snoop is everywhere. Snoop is on HGTV. He's all over the place, man. All over the place. Elsie said Trump is a master at reading the audience. I agree. Like I said, notice how quick he was able to just flip it and did it in such a casual way that it didn't seem fake. But you guys have the right to your own freedoms. Interesting. Gamer for Life said Snoop's politics are garbage. Shout out to Eric. He's a Sabs member. He said Snoop is well monetized. Oh my gosh. All right. We are coming up around 8:21. So I am going to get ready to wrap things up, you guys. But I hope you enjoyed what you saw tonight. Tomorrow night, come back and join me here at 7 o'clock. Kim Brown from Burn It Down with Kim Brown is going to be here. We have a lot to talk about. I really like her show. I've been wanting to have her on for a while. So that should be a good, fun time. Thursday, catch me back on FHL for the roundtable. I'll be there around 5-ish because now that we're going back into the office, you know how it is. You know how it is. I can't get back here like in time for 4. So I'll be there. Yes, Wear a Pilgrim. That's right. Burn It Down with Kim Brown will be here. And we will burn it down. Got some interesting things to talk about. For those of you who ask me how you can support the show, you can do so on Patreon. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Or if you want to, you can become a Sabs member. If you go to my channel and you just click the join button, you become a member. And then you get all kind of perks with that, where you get automatic shout outs and live streams. If you comment on videos that are already uploaded, you get priority with that. And you get little emoji stickers that you can use as well. So someone just said Kim Brown is, where did it go? Where did it go? Yes, Jean said Kim Brown is pure fire. Yes, I'm telling you guys, I've been waiting to get her on. So I'm really excited about it. Awesome times. Absolutely, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sorry I had you guys thinking today was Wednesday, but happy Tuesday evening. And as always, have a good night. Keep up the fight.